This is ABC7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
As a woman, the first thing you notice is that you're judged upon your appearance. It's really important to get somebody's attention because you're among a lot of, shall we say, a lot of suits.
Sexual harassment from D.C. to Tallahassee. 2 Florida state senators are accused. A judge running for U.S. Senate allegedly groped teenagers. What's next? Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohn, and welcome to ABC7 at 7. We'll have more on sexual harassment in politics. But first, our top 7 stories at 7. It has been 2 months since Hurricane Irma barreled through the Suncoast. Time to take stock and answer some tough questions. The former administrator of FEMA is in Sarasota County analyzing the response to Hurricane Irma. Craig Fugate is leading the county's review to determine what can be done better the next time a hurricane comes our way. Fugate says the focus will be on resources and less on the financial cost.
But I really want to also make sure that we don't stop with Irma. I want to look at what if Irma had not missed? What if it had been a direct hit?
The analysis will continue over the next few months. The state is also doing a hurricane after action report, including the impact on agriculture, how much money the state spent, and the debris removal process. Several committee members say damage estimates are too low. Those estimates project losses of more than $2.5 billion.
$2.5 million economic losses. And this figure doesn't just represent immediate losses. We have taken into consideration infrastructure, equipment, things like that.
The State Department of Agriculture projected citrus losses at an estimated $761 million from Hurricane Irma. A local pharmacist is behind bars tonight, charged with theft and possession of controlled substances. The Manatee County Sheriff's Office is charging Cody Bennett, a pharmacist at the Manatee Discount Pharmacy. An investigation began after a complaint of suspicious activity at the pharmacy. Almost 500 oxycodone pills were reported missing. When detectives arrived, Bennett allegedly had some in his pockets. He later confessed he had been stealing from the pharmacy since September. The Atlanta Braves are in town checking out the progress of their soon-to-be new spring training home. Team executives are discussing their vision for the new stadium. The stadium in Northport will have over 7,000 seats and will create 300 new jobs, with the stadium being ready by 2019.
If we continue to manage the project efficiently, the schedule is tight, but we'll need some good weather and no catastrophes. We'll be ready in March of 2019.
The Braves are opening an office at Sumter Road and US 41 in Northport. In Tampa, the reward money for information in the Seminole Heights homicides has reached 6 figures. It went up from $91,000 yesterday to $100,000 today, thanks to a donation from the owner of the Columbia restaurant. Law enforcement agencies, including the ATF, Crime Stoppers, FDLE, and the FBI, have contributed $85,000. Tampa has raised the rest. There have been 4 murders in the neighborhood since early October, including one on Tuesday morning. A former Florida high school student has won $49.3 million in the judgment against a teacher who pleaded guilty to having sex with her when she was 16. A jury determined that the Miami County School District failed to protect the student from the teacher, who had a known improper history of behavior. The student is now 20 years old. The teacher has served 6 months in prison. Get ready. The first television ads in the Florida 2018 race for governor are going on the air across the state. Miami Beach Mayor Philip Levine's political committee released the ad today. The committee is spending $800,000 on a 30-second spot. In the ad, the Democrat talks about climate change and the minimum wage. Levine is challenging former Congresswoman Gwen Graham and 2 others for the Democratic nomination. Now let's head over to ABC7's Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan with the First Alert forecast. Bob.
Alan, an absolutely outstanding day. I'm sure you would agree. Lots of sunshine out there and mild conditions. We had little clouds around this morning and kind of cool too. Temperatures were in the upper 50s, but quickly warmed into the mid 70s, and a delightful sunset tonight with calmer seas, although we're still up to the 2 to 3 foot level. This is again looking out toward the Gulf of Mexico from Casey Key, and the wind flow hasn't been all that strong today. Out of the northeast, anywhere from 5 to 10 right now. Siesta Key at 10 out of the north. And that north wind will keep things on the cooler side to start things off tomorrow morning. Warm Mineral Springs at 7, 8 mile an hour out of the northeast at Northport. Well, the evening planner looks to be pretty nice, 61 degrees by 11 o'clock tonight under mostly fair skies. Now, the fog we saw around this morning and the low clouds should not be a factor tomorrow as that little system has since moved on. Low temperatures will be into the mid to upper 50s to right around 60 degrees at the area beaches, 57 at Lakewood Ranch, and 58 in Sarasota, 59 in Osprey, and 57 in Parrish. Anna Maria should be down right around 60 to start the morning off, maybe a degree or two warmer at this point. But as far as the forecast goes, we're looking at high pressure dominating our weather right now, and that continues to bring us clear skies. You can see hardly a cloud to be found over the southeast United States. That frontal system that we were watching has now since dissipated. And as far as the current temperatures go, up and down the coast, currently into the mid-60s in Bradenton, Cortez, and also Sarasota, 70 in Venice and Inglewood, and 68 degrees now into Northport. A lot of people will be coming to town over the upcoming week as a result of Thanksgiving, and it looks like they may need their umbrella. We'll have much more on that coming up. Yes, unfortunately.
All right. Well, we have a week to work on that, right?
Yeah, I can work my magic.
Okay, thanks a lot, Bob. Still to come, allegations of sexual harassment, not just in Washington or Alabama, but also in our state capital. We'll have more when we come back.
We're still in hurricane season, and storms could still impact us here on the Suncoast. Sometimes it's just rain. Sometimes it's much worse. When there's the potential for severe weather, you need to know fast. Trust ABC7 First Alert Weather to get you the information you need right away. We focus on the storms that impact where you live, and we're committed to alerting you with important information as soon as we get it. When severe weather strikes, trust ABC7 First Alert Weather. We're here for you.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to Mesobook.com.
Is your mop a dirty, disgusting mess? You need the Hurricane 360 Spin Mop System, the only mop and bucket that spins the dirt away. A system that cleans practically anything and everything with super absorbent microfiber. Dip it in the washer side and the mess releases into the bucket. Then place it in the dryer side and push on a pedal. You get a clean mop head that's practically dry and ready for more. And your hands will never again touch a dirty, disgusting mop. The heads are washable and reusable. Get the Hurricane 360 Spin Mop System for just 2 payments of $19.99. You'll also get a Sticky Buddy, the reusable sticky roller that picks up pet hair and lint and washes clean in seconds. You can take advantage of our 2-for-1 Pick It Up special and get a second spin mop set. Just pay additional shipping and fee. And we'll upgrade you to free priority handling. So don't wait. Order now.
Call 1-800-394-1524 to get your Hurricane Spin Mop double offer. So hurry and call 1-800-394-1524. Call now.
My name is Stephen Jaffe. The law firm's name is Farmer Jaffe. One of the beautiful things about Julius is he's always smiling, and it becomes infectious. The fact that Julius has a disability has absolutely nothing to do with the quality of work that he's done. Just a great person you want on your staff.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
ABC7 investigates shopping secrets tomorrow at 6 p.m.
Roy Moore, now Al Franken. It's hard right now to avoid hearing stories of powerful men holding or seeking the most powerful positions in Washington accused of sexually harassing women. But folks, it's not just Washington or Alabama. Have you heard what's been going on in Tallahassee? ABC7's Jess Dowdrick joins us with the story. Jess.
Alan, this kind of behavior has been going on for years, according to state lawmakers. The affairs and sex scandals aren't anything new. What's different is that in today's society, women now feel empowered to speak out about it.
It's that Vegas style, what happens in Tallahassee stays in Tallahassee.
As an activist for years, Susan Nylon has been around the sexual scandals that surround the state capitol.
As a woman, the first thing you notice is that you're judged upon your appearance. It's really important to get somebody's attention because you're among a lot of, shall we say, a lot of suits. And so it's implied that in order to stand out, it's not just the argument that you're giving, but it's how pleasant you are, what you look like, who you spend time with. The relationships that you build tend to be more important than the issue that you're up there for.
She calls it degrading.
Tallahassee is a completely different animal.
Making it hard to focus on the issues. She says instead, women are worried about their appearance.
How you see the behavior of our representatives up in Tallahassee are quite different than what you would see down here.
Playing out right now in Tallahassee, State Senator Jack Latvala, who's seeking the Republican gubernatorial nomination, is fending off allegations he groped and harassed at least 6 women. Democratic Senate leader Jeff Clemens just resigned his office after acknowledging an extramarital affair with a lobbyist. And on the heels of Clemens' resignation, an investigation is launched after a camera is found by Senate Majority Leader Oscar Brainon in the hallway of a condo building where he and other lawmakers live in Tallahassee.
I'm not surprised about any of it.
10 years ago, when former state representative Keith Fitzgerald took office, he was hearing similar rumors or allegations of sexual misconduct.
You have a lot of people who are working 300 miles away from their home and family. They're up there temporarily. There's a lot of alcohol. So certainly flirtatious behavior, people sort of using sex as a kind of currency in affairs and that sort of thing, that's really common.
Fitzgerald says he was shocked to find out that Tallahassee was what he describes as a work setting with a hypersexualized atmosphere.
But I would just warn anyone from the outside who thinks that maybe their party or their side is free of this and the other side or the perpetrators, it doesn't work like that. There are bad actors and there are good actors on both sides of the aisle.
But current state lawmakers seem to see it quite differently. State Representative Joe Gruters of Sarasota says the allegations are being portrayed as a rampant issue in Tallahassee when that isn't the case.
Always have to wonder when people come out, especially if you're running for higher office or if you're trying to do something specific, if it's motivated by a true intent to rid this building of bad people, or if it's politically motivated to eliminate one of your political opponents.
But regardless, if the allegations are substantiated, Gruters wants to see those lawmakers out of the state capitol.
At the end of the day, the legislature should have a zero tolerance policy. We should try to focus on making sure that all allegations get fully investigated and that we take care of any problem areas that we have.
So how do we stop the sexual misconduct? Nylon says to start, people need to start taking these allegations more seriously. Then the people who are seeing these things happen need to say something, whether they're the victim or just a witness.
Jess, thank you. 2 former state representatives from the Suncoast, a man and a woman there waiting at the trapezoid. This should be interesting.
Need a light bulb? Batteries Plus Bulbs has a huge selection of LEDs starting as low as 99 cents.
The one inside the clothes dryer.
Oh, you use the clothes dryer.
Visit batteriesplus.com for a store near you.
Attention type 2 diabetics. The FDA warns of an increased risk of amputation associated with certain diabetes medications. If you took the diabetes medications Invokana or Invokamet and then suffered an amputation or one of these other serious injuries, call the Rely On group right now. If you've suffered amputation or any of these other injuries after taking your diabetes medication, call the Rely On group today. You may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-604-1698. That's 800-604-1698.
Fact: the top 3 Marriott hotels in North and South America are on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, according to a recent survey of 363 Marriott hotels. The Marriott at Grand National, the Marriott Shoals Hotel, and the Grand Hotel. And 2 of the top 3 Renaissance hotels are also on the trail: Ross Bridge in Birmingham and the Battle House in Mobile. Southern hospitality still rules. For reservations or information, visit rtjgolf.com/resorts.
Once you get atrial fibrillation, you need to have a very close relationship with your primary doctor. Prevention is the whole ball game here, because once you have a stroke, you can't undo it. A year without stroke. It's a year that you can enjoy doing the things that you've worked all your life to finally get to do. You took care of yourself. You did what is necessary for you to be around one more year. And then next year, we'll celebrate one more year without a stroke.
Tomorrow at 4 on Suncoast View.
You may be surprised to know this, but there are honey-producing beehives all over the Suncoast. I'm Stephanie Roberts. On Suncoast View, we'll sit down with the Sarasota Honey Company and taste test some different local varieties. Florida Studio Theater previews their new musical Once. Choice Tropics helps us pick the perfect holiday plants, and Chef Paul Madison joins us in the kitchen.
Tomorrow at 4 on Suncoast View.
We're still in hurricane season. Storms can pop up at a moment's notice. Sometimes it's just rain. Sometimes it's much worse. When severe weather strikes, trust ABC7 First Alert Weather. We're here for you.
Welcome back. The news has been dominated by Roy Moore and now Al Franken, but the state capitol in Tallahassee has been described as a toxic culture of sexual harassment. Clearwater State Senator Jack Latvala, a Republican candidate for governor, is being accused of groping 6 women. Jeff Clemens, the incoming Senate Democratic leader, just resigned after revelations about an affair with a lobbyist. People do things in Tallahassee that they would never do at the Rotary Club back home, says former state senator Don Gates. And our 2 guests tonight know firsthand about it. Former state representatives Keith Fitzgerald, who teaches political science at New College, and Shirley Brown, who is now a member of the Sarasota County School Board. Let me quote the first sentence in the recent article by the Miami Herald. For decades, sex has been a tool and a toy for the politically powerful in the male-dominated world of politics in Florida's capital. Now it is a weapon. True?
I think so. I mean, I know lobbyists talked about having closers at the end of session. If they needed something passed, they would send a woman in. Sometimes, I would imagine, if they sent female lobbyists in, they might send male lobbyists in too, to close the deal, to get the legislators' attention to be able to file something.
Rumor, or did you ever see that firsthand?
I never saw that firsthand, but I know it happened. I mean, and I know the lobbyist who brought that up.
Keith,
yes.
Did you ever see stuff like that firsthand?
That kind of thing, absolutely I did. And at the last couple of weeks of session, lobbyists who you had been dealing with entire session would suddenly come in and have a lovely young 22-year-old. And when it first happened to me, I looked at him like, are you really pulling this? Do you think this is going to work? But the answer is, when you talk to him, is, yeah, it works for a lot of people.
You're basically saying that there are lobbyists up there who are prostitutes.
Well, I'm not saying that they brought her for sexual favors, but they brought her to keep my attention on whatever their issue was. So it's a gradation. I don't think they're actually, I think it goes on that they actually do, in some cases, offer people up. There's a contest at the end of the session called the Miss Rotunda contest, where the lobbyists and other people up there rate the young women on the basis of their reputation for getting around, let's say. Again, that just sort of blew me away. I mean, it's just not the world I came from in my workplace.
You know, the question is, why are we only hearing about this now? You know, we're hearing about what's going on with Roy Moore and Al Franken. Certainly, this was a central theme in the presidential campaign, but just basically the trading for sex, for votes. I mean, if this has been going on for years, what is taking it so long?
It used to be the way things were back in the 70s and the 80s and even into the 90s. It was, remember how we used to be able to smoke cigarettes on an airplane? And, people used to just drink and then go out and drive. I mean, we now know those things are not acceptable. And I think the Harvey Weinstein thing brought it to the forefront that those things are not acceptable
But even
anymore.
Before the Weinstein thing broke out into the news, we heard that someone hired a private investigator to go up there and find out what people were doing, and purportedly that's why the allegations against Senator Latvala, came to the surface, and Senator Clemens. So the question is, what is yet to come?
Well, that kind of bothers me that they are, you know, putting cameras in hallways, you know, where people live in Tallahassee to get the dirt on each other. I mean, I think when they're going that far for politics, you know, when they get into people's personal lives, I think they're going a little far on that.
You know, one thing I would say about this is that the professions that you're seeing these scandals in are all professions that are high profile, high publicity professions. I think if you started poking your nose in a lot of businesses and a lot of other ways of life, you'd see very similar things. And part of what's changing is women are now getting more positions of authority, they have better networks, and they're just standing up and saying they won't take it anymore.
We are just getting started. We'll be back right after this.
This is an important medical announcement. Bard IVC filters have been linked to punctured veins and problems with migration. Anyone who's received a Bard IVC filter must receive medical monitoring and may be entitled to substantial compensation. If you have the Bard Recovery G2 or G2 Express filter, you are in a class of patients who should be compensated for some expenses. Call now for a free assessment of your case and potential money damages. This call is confidential. There's no cost and you may be eligible. Juries have awarded millions of dollars to people who should have been warned about the risks of the Bard IVC filters. Call the IVC Filter Hotline if you or a loved one has received an IVC filter and experienced a vein puncture or required medical monitoring. You must call now.
Call 800-329-3089. 800-329-3089.
You studied hard, went to college, and achieved your dream, but it turned into a financial nightmare. If you have federal student loans and you'd like to reduce your payments, get more time, or have your loans completely eliminated, then we have good news. With one call to Student Loan Relief Services, you can find support and guidance. We've already helped thousands of people, and we can help you too. If you have $10,000 or more in federal student loans, you can qualify for payment extensions, payment reductions, or you may qualify to have your federal student loan completely forgiven. Call Student Loan Relief Services now to find out about your options. Take control of your finances and get out from under this burden. One of our student loan experts has the answers to your questions and great solutions to ease your financial burden. We're here for you. Call Student Loan Relief Services now.
Call 800-759-0203. 800-759-0203.
I am the resident district manager on the FAU campus for Chartwell. Whenever I see Haley, I do not see a person with a disability. I see a person with extraordinary abilities. Haley is always smiling. She's always on time. She gives fantastic customer service and is always focused on any job that she's given.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to abilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Our conversation on sexual harassment in government continues right after we get a check on the first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan.
Well, look at this. This is looking out toward the Ringling Bridge this evening, right around 4 o'clock. You can see a little bit of a ripple on the water there, indicating some winds, but not too bad. The advisories have since lifted since yesterday, and Benway's a webcam catching a nice sunset tonight. Currently, the sun well gone, and we have clear skies, 66 degrees, the dew point pretty nice, 60. That means our lows tonight will be right around that number. Winds out of the north at 7, and the pressure 30.03. That continues to rise as this high pressure is getting bumped down a little bit closer to us in advance of a cold front. Now, the high today was 76, 3 degrees shy of the average. 79 is our normal high, and this morning's low was right around it at 60 degrees. No rainfall to report. We could get a little additional rainfall. We're over an inch below average for the month of November, so we're due for some rain. Looks like we may get some too. Unfortunately, looks like it could be around Thanksgiving too. We are looking at upper 70s, clear skies through Friday. Another outstanding day with high pressure dominating our weather. Don't expect too many clouds, maybe a little bit, but not many at all. Mostly sunny skies are anticipated. Temperature forecast for tonight into the right around 50-degree temperature at Tallahassee to wake things up. Tomorrow morning will be in the mid to upper 50s here. 62 in Fort Myers, 59 in Orlando. Then we'll warm up into the upper 70s, so it should be another delightful day. That's typical for this time of year. 79, pretty much of an average temperature, and Then for lows on Saturday morning, look again for no change there. Upper 50s for our low temperatures, and then slightly cooler air will start to move in on Monday as a cold front moves on through. But this next front isn't going to be all that strong in terms of temperature. What's going to happen is it's going to come down and then park itself over central Florida, and then a little series of disturbances will move along it, bringing a chance for showers throughout Tuesday to Thursday next week. Well, futurecast for tomorrow looks great. We'll see high pressure dominate, a few clouds along the east coast, nothing going on, sunshine here, no real threat of any significant rainfall. And then here comes the front, and you'll see it start to move through the lower Mississippi Valley on Saturday. This one is going to move through and eventually, as I said, pull up stationary over the top of us and bring us a chance for some showers Tuesday through Thursday of next week. Right now, some light rain along the east coast, but nothing going on here. Over the northeast, a storm exiting off into the Atlantic is bringing some showers from Maine all the way to New York and parts of Pennsylvania tonight. They're getting some rain-snow mix there just to the east of Syracuse and near just to the east of Buffalo. Temperature 37 in Chicago. It's 40 in St. Louis, so that cold air is dipping south down into Tennessee, but not all the way down here. Temperatures still are going to remain pretty nice over the upcoming days. Winds out of the northeast turning to the east at 15 knots in the morning and then subsiding to 5 to 10 in the afternoon. Seas running 2 to 3 feet with a moderate chop out there. The water temperature at 73. Tides up coming on your screen. High tide will be at 10:35. And the forecast tonight mostly fair, 57 for your low, and it will be a little bit on the cool side inland. And then tomorrow, plenty of sunshine, a beautiful day, seasonal, and north winds at 10 to 15. The extended forecast then is calling for nice weather on Saturday. Sunday, maybe a little increase in cloudiness as the front gets close to us. A 20% chance for a shower or two. And you'll notice those rain chances pick up a little bit Tuesday through Thanksgiving. Alan will be back with his guests right after this. Stick around.
Consumer Cellular makes it easy to stay in touch with family and stay within our budget.
Now our cell phone bill is only a fraction of what it used to be.
Our average customers get everything they need for about $25 a month, and plans start at only $15 a month with no contracts.
Consumer Cellular has a great choice of phones. Check out my new one.
I picked this simple phone.
I use my son's old smartphone. Kept my number, too.
Consumer Cellular has been an approved AARP provider since 2008, and members get exclusive discounts.
It's a good thing Consumer Cellular is always there, because sometimes I need a little help.
Sometimes. We're proud to have received the J.D. Power Award for highest customer service 3 times in a row.
Over the years, we've seen a lot of change.
We actually use change. Luckily, there are some things we can still afford.
Like Consumer Cellular.
Stop paying too much for wireless service. Switch to Consumer Cellular. And with our 30-day risk-free guarantee, it's easy. Call 1-800-920-3084. Go online or visit a Target store today.
At Humana, we believe great things are ahead of you when you start with healthy. And part of staying healthy means choosing the right Medicare plan. Humana can help. With Original Medicare, you're covered for hospital stays and doctor office visits when you're sick, but keep in mind you'll have to pay a deductible for each. A Medicare supplement plan can cover your deductibles and coinsurance, but you may pay higher premiums than you do with other plans, and prescription drug coverage isn't included. But with an all-in-one Humana Medicare Advantage plan, you could get all that coverage plus Part D prescription drug benefits, all for an affordable monthly plan premium, and in some areas, no plan premium. It's all described in this free book and DVD. Call for yours and discover how an all-in-one Medicare Advantage plan from Humana could save you money. Call 1-855-395-9803. That's 1-855-395-9803 now.
If you're looking for the perfect trip that allows you to spend quality time with a family, then discover the great outdoors on an Alabama Black Belt adventure. Create unforgettable memories while hunting, fishing, or biking and hiking. Or play the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, now celebrating 25 years. And while you're here, enjoy the flavors of the Black Belt. Book your adventure at our lodges or stay in the Renaissance Montgomery Hotel and Spa. Start planning an Alabama Black Belt adventure today.
Welcome back. We have been deluged by the continuous coverage of Roy Moore and the growing number of women accusing the Alabama Republican trying to date them in some cases assaulting them while they were teenagers. And now Al Franken, accused today of sexually harassing a woman before he was in the U.S. Senate during a USO tour of the Middle East. And joining us for more is former state representatives Keith Fitzgerald, who teaches political science at New College, and Shirley Brown, who is now a member of the Sarasota County School Board. And Shirley, I want to start with you because you said during our break the number of people that you served with, who you were elected alongside with, the number of them who eventually were doing this really kind of remains incredible.
Yeah, and, I didn't personally get involved, but I know, one of them married a secretary or an aide, another one married a lobbyist, another one had definite reports of fondling the young girls up there. It was happening, but it was better than it used to be, is what I heard.
Still, even with the cases of Roy Moore, you hear those saying, what he did all those years ago, and obviously the behavior didn't extend to, after he got married. If he apologized and he asked God for forgiveness, then you should let him go. Hold on.
Or a 14-year-old, you don't get an apology.
Right. But we have heard that coming out of Alabama, and now you have the case of Al Franken. This was before he was in the U.S. Senate, you could debate about whether it was the same thing as Roy Moore, but still it is what it is. And ironically, Al Franken talked about the issue of sexual harassment right after the Harvey Weinstein case made the news. Here's what he had to say.
Last question. What do you make of the Harvey Weinstein scandal? It's been an interesting time in entertainment.
It's a horrible thing. It's a horrible thing. And unfortunately, sexual harassment happens in every profession. And I think that we need to do something legislatively to make it easier for women to not only go to court, but so that this isn't secret.
How ironic. A guy who some talked about as possibly a candidate for president, something will be done legislatively because he's about to face a Senate ethics investigation, Keith.
Well, he actually asked for it himself. And listen, I don't think you can defend one side and criticize the other. You have to defend the behavior. I think this is a gender issue. It's about how men treat women. It's not about Democrats and Republicans and conservatives and liberals. It's about how men treat women, and you can't excuse it or minimize it just because somebody is on your team.
Now, you mentioned in Justice Peace that this is a nonpartisan issue, that you saw, both of you, Republicans and Democrats in Tallahassee behaving badly. Of course, this is a difficult issue for the president to talk about because during the presidential campaign, he was accused of inappropriate behavior by a number of women. Today, the White House press secretary was asked about this, and this is what she had to say.
The president believes that these allegations are very troubling and should be taken seriously, and he thinks that the people of Alabama should make the decision on who their next senator should be. The president said in his statement earlier this week that if the allegations are true, then that Roy Moore should step aside. He still firmly believes that.
Having said that, Sanders also said that the president knows better than most about the dangers of allegations that are not true. So this is a difficult thing for whether you're the president or a senator or a wannabe senator to deal with issues that happened years ago. But when a number of women come along with similar stories, this is something that people have to deal with.
Well, and it's not just, in the legislative areas. It happens in business every day.
We're doing a show on that next week.
Okay.
We're talking about government today.
That happens too, and they've just got to understand it. It's not the way it used to be, and we even passed a law when I was in the legislature to say that a female prisoner, didn't have to say no or fight if the guard came in and wanted sex. She had to give it to him. It was rape. So it's other areas too.
I do want to say something about the president's allegations, though. There's a very, very excellent young reporter in the campaign who was hugged and kissed by the presidential candidate. She felt like she could not report on it because people would say, well, maybe as a woman you're not tough enough to carry this beat. And she didn't even carry. So as the campaign went on, it came out there were other allegations. You might look back and say, wow, if she had reported that at that time, those other allegations would look more credible, because this happened during the campaign.
Right, but still, during the campaign, you had a number of allegations by a number of different women. You had the incredible video of the president's comments, to Billy Bush. But voters heard that. They had their opportunity to vote on it or not, and they still elected President Trump.
Not the majority of the voters.
But enough of them to win the election. So there is that. The other question that I have to ask you is, I see that there is an attempt in Tallahassee to change the rules in terms of reporting sexual harassment. We're going to see where that goes. But in the United States Congress, there have been stories this week about what somebody has to go through to report allegation of sexual harassment against a lawmaker, and it seems, when was this ever okay?
You know, the rules in Congress are preposterous. They're absurd. One of the things that a person has to do, say a young woman or a young man is mistreated, and they want to report it, they have to sign a disclaimer saying that they will not disclose the details of this to anyone, including a therapist. And this is what they have to do to get relief. And that's just absurd. So it's not, it shows that these problems are not just individual, they're institutional. They're not serious about stopping this.
So the question is whether, given our history in terms of the last year, in terms of what happened during the presidential campaign or what's going on with Roy Moore or Al Franken or in Tallahassee right now, you know, they often say that the best disinfectant is sunlight. Is this a problem that will be stopped in its tracks now because we as a society will have none of it, most especially with our elected leaders?
Well, I don't think it'll stop in its tracks, just like, you know, everybody, you know, hasn't stopped smoking on planes. Some still sneak in the bathroom. I mean, there'll be some that'll still happen, but I would think that as we're raising our young sons now, they'll have a better understanding of what is and is not acceptable. You know, but we've got young girls out there too. I've seen aides up in Tallahassee trying to keep a scorecard of how many people they had sex with too. I mean, and that's, I think, just as wrong, because they could turn around and use that against these men. And you know, I think Monica Lewinsky had to bring something up, but that was another one.
Well,
I mean, trying to get those notches on your boat.
The Bill Clinton era. And Democrats came under intense criticism, including feminists, for standing by Clinton after what happened in the Lewinsky scandal and everything else that came out. I would imagine Democrats have a lot of explaining to do also in that regard.
Well, and I'll tell you, I was one of the rare Democrat who thought the president should resign. And the reason I thought that is that I've been teaching young women ages 18 to 22 for my whole career, and I know what a 22-year-old is like. And the older man is the responsible party in that. So I didn't give him a pass then, and I don't give him a pass now.
Exactly. And I think what we need to do is make sure that these men in Tallahassee and Washington know that these young girls are around, and maybe they are flattered by him, and maybe they would like to have, you know, that relationship. I know my mother said, you know, learn to type, be a secretary so you can marry the boss. No, you don't do that. That is not your way to the top, is through the bedroom. You've got to say no, and the young girls who may be misinformed on what they should do, the men have to stand up and say no. Okay. This is not right.
We will be back in a minute, so stay with us.
This is an important medical announcement. Xarelto and Pradaxa have been linked to uncontrollable bleeding and even death. If you've been prescribed one of these drugs and have experienced these dangerous side effects, you may be entitled to substantial compensation. Studies show that Pradaxa can cause more heart attacks than warfarin, and other countries have already issued safety warnings against this drug. Call now for a free assessment of your case and potential money damages. The call is confidential, there's no cost, and you may be eligible. Juries have awarded millions of dollars to Pradaxa victims, and thousands of Xarelto victims are filing their legal cases. Call the Drug Watch hotline if you or a loved one used Xarelto or Pradaxa and experienced uncontrollable bleeding, brain hemorrhage, or even death. You must call now.
Call 800-793-6055. 800-793-6055.
What if you had a medical emergency away from home?
My chest hurts. I can't breathe.
What you need is Mobile Help, America's premier mobile medical alert system. Most systems only work at home, but with Mobile Help, you get help outside the home with coverage nationwide on one of the largest cellular networks at the press of a button. Call the number on your screen for a free full-color brochure. We'll send you everything you need, including this base station, the patented mobile device, and the waterproof pendant and wrist button. You can also add the fall button that automatically detects falls and signals help. Call today and receive a risk-free 30-day trial. There is no equipment to buy and no long-term contract. For a limited time, you will also receive a free emergency key box with your plan purchase. Remember, Mobile Help keeps you safe coast to coast.
Call 1-800-916-8638. That's 1-800-916-8638.
ABC7 is giving you the chance to win a dream vacation for two to Paris. Watch ABC7 Good Morning Suncoast weekdays starting at 6 a.m. for the word of the day. Then register that day's word by midnight at mysuncoast.com. Good luck. ABC7 investigates shopping secrets tomorrow at 6 p.m.
We're talking about sexual harassment from Tallahassee to Washington, and these are final thoughts. I know what you're going to say here, but you know, whether it's in Tallahassee or in Washington, there's already talk about mandatory sexual harassment training for senators, congressmen, and in the House here in Tallahassee. Shirley, what do you think the answer is?
Well, I think we've got to continue this push to say no, and you know, even on the television. I mean, Saturday Night Live the other night, they had a lot of things that, to me, in their skits were sexual harassment. They've got to stop portraying it as good, as funny. And the men and even the women out there have got to understand that there's boundaries.
You know,
and stay to them.
Keith, I mean, this started with the Harvey Weinstein situation, Kevin Spacey. It's exploding throughout the entertainment industry. Now it's into our political world. One thing does have things to do with the other. As you said, it's in our workplace. But is the answer here stop normalizing this kind of behavior? Yeah, and I will steal Shirley's idea. She said at the break, and I think she's 100% right. We need more women in positions of power. If half the legislators were women, this stuff wouldn't go on that much. If half the movie producers were women, this wouldn't go on that much. So as women become more powerful and have more responsible positions, this stuff is going to stop. And I think that's an important thing we all have to be supportive of. You know, we reported that somebody hired a private investigator up in Tallahassee, and you believe that's really not the thing to do, but does that have the effect of putting legislators on notice that someone is watching what you're doing up there? Yeah, and in that respect, it's a good thing, although it also opens up, you know, the possibilities that people will be falsely accused, which I don't think is a big problem, so don't get me wrong. But, you know, you don't want this to be done surreptitiously, and you don't want it to be done through snooping. You want it to be done because people recognize what the right thing to do is, and they do it.
But they didn't put those cameras up there to make sure that these women were protected. They put those cameras up there to be able to attack these legislators politically, to end their careers. That's a different issue, I think. So is Tallahassee any less toxic from this point of view than it was? Well, hopefully they'll be cleaning up their act on some things, but you know, it sometimes seems the ones who wave the flag the highest are hiding the most behind it. Okay, we'll have to leave it there. But before we go, we want to share with you some thoughts about what some of you had to say about our show on mass shootings. 2 mass shootings, 84 people dead, nearly 600 injured, 35 days apart. Just the latest massacres in an unending cycle of horror, grief, recriminations, and utter frustration at our inability to do anything to stop it. Alice says, better background checks, better mental health care, of course, ban bump stocks, prayer. Okay,
But then there's Harley, who says, when the Twin Towers were destroyed and so many people lost their lives due to radicals, why wasn't plane travel banned? Because, Harley, we did do something about it. We declared war. We tracked down every terrorist we could find and we put an end to them. We continue to run them down. And while we haven't prevented every single attack on the homeland, we haven't had another one as deadly as 9/11, have we? And then there's John, who says, quit dividing the country. Okay, John, by talking about it, let me get this straight. 26 people die while they were praying in the church a month after 58 people died enjoying a country music concert. We bring Second Amendment and gun control supporters together to look for some answers, and you say quit dividing the country because we're talking about it? If you're wondering, folks, why we have so far failed as a nation to find ways to make these massacres happen at least less often, there you go. If you'd like to join the conversation on tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/mysuncoast.com.abc7. And FYI, you can watch past discussions on demand. They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. And a reminder, you can get all the latest local and national news on your smartphone app. But if you are an Apple iOS user and have the old version of our app, it will go away at the end of the month. iPhone users, you could find the new app by searching My Suncoast in the App Store. The app will be updated automatically for Android users. And we would like to thank both our guests for being here tonight. Former state representatives Keith Fitzgerald, who teaches political science at New College, and Shirley Brown, who is now a member of the Sarasota County School Board. We'll be back right after this.
Christmas Traditions by Lux Art Silks, where more is merrier. Make your holidays sparkle with style. Browse our amazing showroom, cute collectible cottages, and beautiful Christmas displays. Find the inspiration, selection, and quality you need to deck the halls merry and bright. Christmas Traditions also features the area's largest selection of quality pre-lit Christmas trees, every size, shape, and color, and plenty of decorations to make your home shine for the holidays. Christmas Traditions by Lux Art Silks, where more is merrier. Visit us on New 301, just a quarter-mile north of University Parkway.
I heard about the Detoli Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Detoli Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was and some additional cancers that were not found during the biopsy. I would recommend the Detoli Cancer Center. As a group of human beings, they are unbelievably great.
Listen to this important message. If you owe money to the IRS, you will want to hear this. The IRS is cracking down on those who owe back taxes. They send out devastating letters, garnish paychecks, and even put liens on your home or business. You may have heard of it. It's called enforced compliance. Penalties and interest compound daily on your back taxes, putting you under a mountain of debt. Tax 10,000 has years of experience connecting people with tax resolution specialists who will negotiate with the IRS on your behalf. Working through the IRS Fresh Start program, they will handle all the necessary forms and can negotiate a tax settlement with the IRS. It's that simple. And if you qualify, you may end up saving thousands of dollars, finally ending your financial stress. Now is the time for a fresh start. Now is the time to call Tax 10,000. 800-699-3188. That's 800-699-3188. Call now.
Your primetime headlines are coming up in a moment, but right now let's get a final check on our first alert forecast from Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan.
Thanks, Alan. This photo just sent in just recently. This is Middle Beach, Inglewood. As the sun was setting there, Inglewood, a lot of activities going on there. Waterfest 2017 all throughout this weekend, and should be pretty good weather for the activities. Currently, we have generally fair skies and temperature 66 degrees with a humidity at 81%. Winds are out of the north at 7. The pressure 30.03 inches. That's pretty high. It continues to rise at this hour. The forecast for tomorrow looks great. High pressure continuing to bring us abundant sunshine throughout the day. We'll see temperatures pretty close to seasonal averages, which is in the upper 70s. And as far as lows go tonight, we'll be into the mid-50s to upper 50s across the area. Especially inland will be in the mid-50s. There's a chance we could see some low clouds around, but it'll burn off rather quickly. Highs tomorrow nearing 80 degrees with winds fairly light out of the northeast in the afternoon. They'll be a little bit stronger throughout the early morning hours. And then the same holds true for Saturday morning. So it looks like things don't change much. But then Sunday, there is a weak frontal system that'll move through late Sunday, which will bring an increase in some clouds. And rain chance not all that high on Sunday at 20% for a few passing showers later in the day. Better chances for rain comes Tuesday through Thursday of next week as a result of a frontal boundary and a little disturbance moving along it. But for the time being, skies are clear from Florida all the way through the Carolinas right now, with the exception of the southeastern part of the state with that little disturbance there. That works its way through. Tomorrow looks good. We'll start off with generally sunny skies, I think, throughout the area. And then the high pressure gets knocked off a little bit, off toward the east. And then a weak frontal system starts to approach from the northwest. That front is due to arrive here on Sunday late. This is at Saturday at 7:30, now making its way toward the Panhandle, bringing some showers there. But we're not anticipating a lot of rainfall with this front. Now, there may be a few showers, but not a lot of widespread rainfall as it moves on through Sunday. Now, satellite and radar imagery showing quiet conditions all across the southeast, stretching all the way over to the southern plains states. A storm system exiting off the northeast coast is still bringing some rainfall and clouds to Maine, but for us, pretty good. Not much going on here at all. A few showers along the east coast. That has been about it. And some rain-snow mix over parts of New York and upstate New York, and now basically rainfall in Vermont, New Hampshire, and into Maine this afternoon and evening. Some rain-snow mix there in Pennsylvania. Temperature 39 in Buffalo, Toronto. A few degrees cooler, 36, 38 in Pittsburgh. And temperature is a little bit warmer over the southern plains and into the central Rockies right now. Denver looking pretty good in the 60s and 69 in Dallas, 76 in San Diego and Atlanta. Now checking in at 57 degrees. Well, as it shapes up for boaters tomorrow, we'll start off with a bit of a breeze out of the northeast at 15 knots, and then it'll subside to 5 to 10 late in the day. A moderate chop out there. The water temperature at 73 degrees, and upcoming tides on your screen. The next high tide will be at 10:35. And another high tide just after noon tomorrow at 12:35. The forecast tonight mostly fair cool and a low of 57 degrees tomorrow. Starts off cool, but nice finish. We'll see a high temperature into the upper 70s under partly cloudy skies and north winds 10 to 15. The extended forecast ends. Delightful weather on Saturday. Sunday, increasing clouds a little bit. Monday, a bit cooler, not cold. And then we'll see a chance for showers from Tuesday through Thanksgiving. Alan will be back with primetime headlines right after this.
Describe a battery or bulb, and Batteries Plus bulbs will have it. Tell us what's broken on your smartphone, and we'll fix it.
I need a new battery for my phone.
And a new screen.
What did you do?
Visit batteriesplus.com for a store near you.
I'm calling in regards about my mother, and I'm here, and I just want to thank you because it saved my mother's life yesterday. And I'd like to know the names of the people that came in and saved her so I could call and thank them. And she's doing fine. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you.
When you fall and cannot get up, an accident can turn into a tragedy. But with Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast. Life Alert saves a person from a catastrophe every 10 minutes.
Life Alert is a lifesaver. If it weren't for Life Alert, I wouldn't be sitting here today.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-652-3012. That's 1-800-652-3012. Call now, 1-800-652-3012. For a free brochure, call 1-800-652-3012.
It's the holiday sales event here at Alex Karras Lincoln. Drive a brand new 2017 Lincoln MKX Sport Utility for $349 per month, or Lincoln's flagship, the 2017 Continental, for $449 per month. We have a great selection of certified pre-owned Lincolns. These vehicles have warranties up to 100,000 miles and come with complimentary roadside assistance. Alex Karras Lincoln, affordable luxury. Winner of the prestigious 2015 President's Award, serving Florida's Sun Coast since 1978. We are located 2 miles north of the Sarasota-Bradenton Airport on US 41.
My name is Luke Perry, and I am 1 million strong. I'm in the fight against colorectal cancer because I believe we can win it. Colon and rectal cancers are the second leading cause of cancer deaths among men and women in the U.S. Colon cancer is preventable. Know the risk factors and make sure to get screened. There are simple, take-home options available. Take control of your health. Screening for colon cancer isn't embarrassing. It can be life-saving. To find out more about your options, visit fightcrc.org.
Here's today's job of the day. ABC7 is seeking an account executive to join our winning sales team. This is an outside sales position covering the Tampa DMA. Visit mysuncoast.com/job of the day to apply.
Checking primetime headlines, Minnesota Senator Al Franken is the latest politician facing serious allegations of sexual harassment. ABC's Marcy Gonzalez has the story.
This photo of Leanne Tweeden asleep on a flight back to Los Angeles from a USO tour.
With his hands as if he's grabbing my breasts.
Just a part of her accusations against former comedian and current Minnesota Senator Al Franken.
I was violated. I just felt like, you know, he betrayed my trust.
Tweeden, a former model who's now a radio news anchor.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Leanne Tweeden.
As in 2006, during a rehearsal in Afghanistan for a skit Franken wrote to perform for troops, the former SNL writer and actor forcibly kissed her.
Put his hand on the back of my head, and he mashed his face against, I mean, it happened so fast, and he stuck his tongue down my mouth, and I remember I pushed him off with my hands.
Franken responded in a statement that reads in part, "I'm sorry. While I don't remember the rehearsal for this skit as Leanne does, I understand why we need to listen to and believe women's experiences." Also writing, "I don't know what was in my head when I took that picture, and it doesn't matter. There's no excuse. I look at it now and I feel disgusted with myself."
The apology? Sure, I accept it, yes.
And now reaction on Capitol Hill.
Were you shocked? Not entirely.
As Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and Minority Leader Chuck Schumer call on the Ethics Committee to investigate. And Franken says he, too, is asking for an ethics investigation, adding he will gladly cooperate. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, Los Angeles.
President Trump traveled to Capitol Hill Thursday to the House to vote on the GOP tax plan. The president addressed House members before they voted on the plan. Republicans claim the goal of the Tax Cut and Jobs Act is to lower taxes on companies to keep them more competitive and discourage them from moving overseas. The legislation lowers the corporate tax rate, reduces the number of tax brackets, and simplifies the tax code. The House bill passed, but the fate of the Senate's version remains uncertain. The federal corruption trial of New Jersey Democrat Bob Menendez has ended in a mistrial after the day. The jury reported it was hopelessly deadlocked. The judge declared the mistrial after interviewing all 12 jurors individually. It is a blow to the Justice Department, which had been investigating Menendez for nearly 5 years. Senator Menendez was accused of accepting lavish gifts from his longtime friend, Florida eye doctor Solomon Melgen, in exchange for political influence. Both denied the charges. Prosecutors did not immediately say if they plan to retry Menendez. And that's all the time we have this evening. I'm Alan Coe. Thanks for joining us, and have a great night.